Oh dear, what's going on? I can't see what's what. Darn thing. Okay, so there's that. All right, Streamlabs is just being spastic. That's silly. Hey, good morning. It's Tuesday, January 14th. My name is Rob. I am thatDeveloperDad, and we're building apps in .NET. So let's, before we get too far into the blah, 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 I just want to review what I tried to do yesterday afternoon and failed miserably. Um, I had tried to test the integration between all the different pieces and parts of this backend system. The Azure functions that are going to receive the webhook calls and so on and so forth. And I could not get the correct URL to be able to start the whole process out of my little test console app. And I discovered that I was just calling the wrong test method, like a bonehead. Um, and for some reason, Streamlabs isn't showing me the the monitor for some goofy reason. Let's try studio mode. Here's studio mode. Okay, it's a little better. Excuse me. Okay, there we go. It's slightly better now. What a goofy morning. So I flipped over to use the correct uh, method in my test console, and you can see down here that I actually have a store.thedmsfamiliar.com/checkout custom blah 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 blah, all that stuff. This is actually a working link. Now I need to run my Azure Function app in a terminal. It turns out to be able to run other things and step through the API once it forwards. So I need to func -h just to bring out the helper thingy. Func new, func start. And I believe that's all I really need to do. Maybe. Settings. It has to log into Azure and manage resources. Settings, host. Here we go. Func start host, and I want to do a -- verbose. So func start host, and what host does is it runs the Azure Function app locally on my laptop. Verbose, and that'll get us all kinds of extra information. There we go. Now I need to host, I need another terminal window. So new window, and I need to go, oh gosh, we'll go over to ngrok and hit getting started, spin down here, and the command to start ngrok locally. What this is it creates an application gateway out on the internet. It gives me a public address, a temporary public address that I can provide to third parties, such as Lemon Squeezy, to invoke the webhooks and so on and so forth as those come through. So ngrok http // nope http / localhost port 7071. That's all we need to do there. And then finally I can come over to ngrok. Excuse me. Here we are. I'm going to copy this guy to the clipboard. Boop. Let's do it twice just to be for sure. And we'll go to Lemon Squeezy. Log in. Go to Webhooks. Edit this and replace the base URL with the new one from ngrok. Save that. Okay. And then, finally, we don't have any connections or anything like that. But what I'll do is I'll just sort of push this like so. And I'll open a new Safari window. Grab this. Show my terminal again. And here's the function app. And let's pull this over here and just kind of do one of these. Now, before we start that, excuse me. Now, Lemon Squeezy is going to send me a boatload of webhooks. Like a ton of webhook requests for a single operation. And that reveals a thing that I need to do. Start new instance. Yep, let's go. All right, here's the backend API. It's running. Here's this. Paste this and go. All right. And I actually, before I carry on with this, oh yeah, that's right. This is gonna fail, but it's okay. We're not going to use my real card information. We can see that we're in test mode. $12.31. 1, 2, 3. Tester, make test face. One, two, three, 4. Test Avenue. North Carolina. 28123. I don't know the actual zip code out in Wilmington. And off it goes. And if you look here, we see that we received a post request. Here's this, blah, blah, blah. Groovy. And we're actually in our API. And we've got the Entra ID that I've scraped out using that JSON get value at path thing that I developed last week. We've got the Lemon Squeezy customer ID. The local action name we haven't determined yet. And the custom SKU, which I altered in the store manager and the store API wrapper. I'm now including that as custom information for the create checkout call. So our local action name, we're in another thread now. Here we go. The local action name is create. We'll return the detail. Manager request, we've done all the things. The manager response, we're going to get some validation errors. I'm just going to get rid of that. Goodbye. And the manager response actually does have an error in it. And it is that it could not find the customer profile with this ID in my identity service. So let's find out what the heck is going on here. Excuse me. And I need to go to, I don't want to use a new window, I want to use a new tab. The Azure portal, I got to go here. And I need to take a look at B2C tenant. And take a look at my users. I'm doing this off screen here. Well, here's Geek Data NC. So I guess the question here is, am I using the correct object ID? I am. Good, good. And so the question is, come back here. Let's take a look at the app registrations. Here's this. And I'm going to need to pull this off screen just for a moment and make sure I have the correct stuff here. Okay, so that client ID is this. Good. And my tenant ID is, well, let's just pull this stuff down. Yeah, that's the right GUID for the tenant ID. That's the correct GUID for the application ID. All right. So I guess what I need to do is actually step through this stuff and try to figure out what the heck is going on. And regenerate all those client secrets, because I just pulled those on screen. All right. So let's pop over to Lemon Squeezy. Where are you? Here you are. Let's refresh this view. And here's one for today. I got a 400. Or that's all we sent back, rather. Okay, there's that. Good. Hey, what's up, Mars? All right, so user identity ID is that. Good stuff. Shrink, shrink. There's that. All right. So we're going to resend this webhook request. That's that. Oh, yeah, because I put a pause on there. Oh, yeah, it's a deep rabbit hole with lots of branches, man. All right, try to get change detail. Yeah. Build prof request. Build a response. All right, we're going to drop a breakpoint here. And got to go back to the webhooks panel. Not this one. I don't need any of that open right now. I'm just going to kill that whole window. And let's try this one. Got so many tabs open. We'll resend. Here we are. So builder response, new account builder, load or build. Let's step in. And we've got our builder instance, step in, fetch and apply identity. Let's go there. Request data user ID is that. Good. Here's our load identity request. Oh, yeah, we're in a second thread now. Because it retried. Grr. Come on. Builder instance. That one. Bounce. Customer profile that has no ID in the identity service. That's nonsense. That's rubbish. I think I can replay directly from ngrok here. If I come over to the traffic inspector, here's the most recent one. And let's just try replaying it once. Here we go. And we shouldn't get retries or anything like that this time. So it's building out the builder. Step in. First thing we got to do is fetch and apply this identity. We'll step in here, blah, blah, blah. Oh, right. Go to implementation. I believe this is my, yep, here we go. Drop that there, run up to here. Well, that's peculiar. That's very peculiar. I gotta close some of these endpoints here. Don't need the store manager open. Don't need JSON utilities, that stuff, or this. I do need the account manager. in particular the customer builder. Breakpoint here. Yeah, today we're debugging, Mars. And for some silly reason, things are not behaving as I expect them to. Here's the traffic inspector. Failed to replay the request, whatever. I'm just going to pull this over here, trigger the workflow again. Here we go. Is it already timed out? What the heck? Yeah, it has failed to replay the request because it probably just timed out. But in this frame, I've got my action request. We've got our customer profile ID, our payload, request detail, the workload ID, all this stuff. Good. Excuse me. And let's come in here, step into fetch or apply. Build the identity request. And I should have a breakpoint in here. Yeah, I've got my identity access. All right, we're inside load user identity async. Validate that request. No problems. And MS graph, blah, 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 blah. Request user ID. Graph result is well, it's not null. Do we have a display name in here? Let's find out. There's GeekDad. Good. Application user, we've got all the stuff. And our profile is there. Good. Oh, come on, Rob. Just bounce there. External IDs add. There's that. Good. Excuse me. And we have fetch and applied our identity. Fetch and apply account information. Payload is the customer profile. We have a subscription. SKU is DM familiar free. That's good. Do we have warnings? Nope. We have no errors. Customer profile is not null. User identity ID is get user ID for vendor. I might have something goofy in here. User identity access, identity vendor, customer profile, external IDs, the vendor name here is Microsoft Entra. You dope. You freaking dope. Stop. Go to definition. Identity vendor. Go to implementations. Gosh. Access, enter a provider. I have this. I wrote this before I had my collection of constants. And I didn't go back and refactor. Copy. Gosh, Rob. Dot MS Entra. Save. Let's spin this up again. Start new instance. This is why we test. Okay. I should probably search the solution for hard-coded strings like that. Replay original, account builder load or build customer. I should have a breakpoint up in there. Load identity response. This is fetch. Yeah. So I'm going to come back out to this and load or build customer. Let's come back out to customer account manager. I'm going to drop a breakpoint here. Just let this run. Retire breakpoints as we go. User identity ID is no longer null because I found that bug. We'll get the catalog item. The SKU template, not null. Change subdata. And this is the DTO that we're going to stuff into the modify subscription request. Change subscription request, we just wrap it up in the action request with the change subdata and all the stuff. And now we go into await account builder, perform subscription action. Let's step. Builder instance is not null. Step out, step in. This error site, and am I including? I'm not including the workload ID. I really oughta. Request null. Prepare working variables. We've got all this stuff. We're getting the catalog template. We're getting the change strategy. We're building the request, and we are applying the change. And we're in strategy base. All right, before we continue, Muju, how are you? I want to make myself some notes. Search solution for magic strings that should be constants in the sasadmin.ifx. Search solution for variable execution site. Make sure the workload ID and workload name are included in that string. Add a logging statement to log out when we alter the behavior, the method timer, to look for those values and include them in the log events, just so that we've got some better observability on these workloads as they execute. So we'll validate the request. We don't have any errors. Transform the subscription. That is specific to the individual strategies. The project is common, man. You missed it at the start, but I am running Azure Functions in a terminal out here. There's some big ugly stuff here where stuff's timing out and so on because I'm stepping through the API calls that I'm forwarding to. But I've got those Azure Functions set up on my local machine. I've got a web-based application gateway running using ngrok. I don't know if you've heard of them, but there's a free plan, so that's awesome. And that lets me create a public address that I can feed to Lemon Squeezy so that when I perform operations in test mode up there, it actually invokes the webhooks and I can step through the processing of them. So there's that. Add. Have we got our new subscription? Oh, we've got a new subscription, baby. Heck yeah. The end date is 2/13. Sweet. And we've got our transform subscription. Change was successful. Change response.payload. Step back out to the manager. We have no errors, no warnings. The payload is not null. We update the vendor IDs. So let's step in here. Cost ID of vendor is that. The vendor name. Oh, thing of beauty. Heck yeah. And save the user account. There were no errors on that. We reconcile the membership data. Off that goes. No errors on that. Let's just let her rip. Managed successfully for customer profile ID, boogity boogity boo. Thing of beauty. Oh, Cursor doesn't let you run the LM locally? That's annoying. That's super annoying. All right, let's 86 these breakpoints. Pull this up the top. I'm going to let this keep running. Webhook endpoints, subscription managed successfully for yada, yada, yada. Groovy. All right. Now, instead of replaying, I'm going to go back to here. And I'm going to look at my Azure AD tenant again. Come into users. And let's see here. I've got all those. I need a fake email address. Let's see. Apple N. And let's go to hotmail.com. No, I don't want that. I need a fake email address for testing. Or an email address that I haven't used for testing. Let me think. Now let's just go to google.com. I'll spin up a new one. Show more accounts. And let's add another account. And I want to create for my personal use. Rob is testing stuff. Next. Let's go August 23rd, 1976. Rather not say the gender. I'll use the Yoda version. Is testing stuff rob at gmail.com. Next. Create a new strong password. I need to copy this. Next. Test account testing Gmail Jan 25. Oh, wait. I probably have to go, is testing stuff Rob? Gmail.com. Oh, wait, duh. Next. All right, is testing stuff Rob at gmail.com. Copy. Next. Yeah, I agree. Confirm. Just get me to the damn email box. Okay, turn on chat and meet, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, fine, whatever. I'm not switching to Chrome. Inbox. Here we go. All right, I've got a brand new Google account. Let's go to the app. This might take a second to spin up. And so y'all know, I usually stream in the afternoons from 1 to 2, but today at 2 o'clock I've got a video conference with some very important business folks that I need to have a conversation with. And I was just going to have a phone call with my primary contact, but he wants to turn it into a video call coffee chat with the president of his company. So I need to take some time and get myself looking less like something that lives under a bridge and hassles the three billy goats gruff. So let's sign up for a new account with this fellow. Come on. You gonna take me anywhere? Here we go. I just had to click it with authority. Should probably also plug in my mouse. So let's sign up now. And I am going to use is testing stuff rob at gmail.com. Send me the verification code. Bounce back over here. Inbox, primary, promotions, social. Here we are. Here's the code. Pop that in there. Verify the code. New password. We'll just use a strong one, whatever. Display name, Rob is testing things. Given name, Rob, surname is testing. Creatoroo. And we're logging in. Slowly but surely. All right. So here's that. Groovy. Hasn't got any townsfolk. Something exploded. I got to check that. Where's my Apple Notes? Loading NPC list with brand new user. Throws an error. Investigate. Oh, and it's being a goon. Docs event types, blah, 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 blah. Let's close this. Goodbye. We'll close that. Open a new tab. Go in fresh. Here's Rob is testing things. Oh, we can totally reproduce it too. Good to know. All right, neither here nor there. We created a brand new account. We can log in. Stuff's bugging out over there. So what I need to do is temporarily close this. I got to bounce back over to Entra. Where are we? Docs event types. Here's that. I have too darn many windows open. But that's okay. Rob is testing things. Here's that. And we are going to simulate that the future has already happened by coming into the test console app. Come on. Come down to Program CS. And we're going to do the things that we would do if I had already had all of this stuff automated. So there's Rob is testing things as object ID and Entra. And let's just run this. Get my checkout link. Here's that. Groovy. I'm going to grab this link, put that in my paste buffer, and hit any key to continue. Now we're going to rerun the API. Boop. It is stood up and ready to receive. Our API or our webhook API function proxy is still running, so that's good. Let's make sure it's still running over here. Oh yeah, we've got a sea of red from all the timeouts and stuff because I was debugging. But let's take that address that I got from the Lemon Squeezy API, and we'll pretend that the application has bounced us automatically over to the Lemon Squeezy thing. Email address is, oh gosh, is testing stuff Rob at gmail.com. We're going to use a card. I got to turn on PayPal and Apple Pay and Lemon Squeezy eventually. 1, 2, 3. This is a universal Visa test card number, by the way. And cardholder name will be Robbie McTesterface, son of Testerface. Lives on 1234 Test Account Drive in North Carolina. The city will be, I don't know, Greenville. I've only ever driven through it. And the zip code 28123, because I don't know what the zip codes are in Greenville. All right, and bam, off you go. Now we should see in just a moment over here all kinds of activity happening, and we do, and we have subscription managed successfully for that customer profile ID. That's a thing of beauty. So if we bring up the Entra screen, we should be able to refresh this guy and take a look at the group memberships. And see that Rob is testing things is now a paid user and a member of the GM Tools users. That's pretty sweet. And I will hit the continue button, close this tab, and go to the actual application itself and take a look and see if we can get into the NPCs now. Okay, so the error is occurring. The error that we saw before, error occurs only when the new user is not in the paid users group. Fascinating. All right, so let's build a new NPC. We'll show the options. I think they are visiting I think my players are going to visit a tavern, so we need a tavern keeper. And they're not retired, obviously. So I don't care about the tavern keeper's background or the species. Surprise me. The button is not responding. This gets so weird sometimes. Excuse me. I'll have to see what happens when I upgrade to a not free version of denied. That's so weird. Okay. Tavern keeper. Roll them. I want to make sure they're not retired. Gnome. Yeah, why not? And it's a little odd that I haven't got the save or other things here. That's very peculiar. I'm going to sign out and sign in as me. Use my fingerprint, sign in. In we go. Does not have either save NPC nor generate AI description buttons. Here's that. We're loading. Got all this stuff. New NPC. Roll the dice. But I do. That's weird. View. That's very, very, very strange. Okay. All right. Well, let's sign out and sign back in as Rob is testing again. One more time. Sign in. Let's go to NPCs. New, and the buttons are there. Okay. So it seems to be just not updating the state in between log in and log out and stuff like that. So I'm going to have to do some investigation on that stuff. Let's try to generate that tavern keeper again. Not retired. I feel like I want to set up some weighting on the gender, because right now it's equal weight between male, female, and not sure. And I think I want to change that weighting so that it's a little bit more realistic for a fantasy game. All right, so Edwin Hart is a human tavern keeper, runs a cozy tavern sharing stories and offering advice, welcoming demeanor, spent his early years as a sage immersed in books and knowledge. So he's a nerd that got rich and bought a bar. All right, I can be done with that. Come on. For some reason, save is now being silly. Oh, there it goes. Just took a minute. Back to list. Oh, and he saved twice. Cool. All right. Okay, so it's a little goofy, a little sticky. I suspect that that'll get alleviated a little bit when it's running on a paid plan instead of a free plan. And the AI details didn't increment either. That's odd. It should have. All right. Application issues found during testing with new user. So what that's, I'm going to sign out and sign back in as my main account. Oh, and Happy New Year to you, Muju. Muju, I know that name. I know who you are. How do you do this morning, Mr. Danley? Happy New Year to you as well. All right, let's go generate another one as me. 76. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Navigator grew up as a sailor. Generate the description. Off you go. Save. I expect NPC AI details to have incremented to 77. Now, if I sign out and sign back in, he burned out. Oh, don't do that, man. Can't let them burn you out. We're too old to fall for that nonsense anymore. Okay, yeah, it still didn't increment the AI details. So something goofy happened in there. And I've got notes. Brand new users, as expected with new users. Let me generate another one and see if it actually does it this time. Just cause. Half elf farmer. Yeah, let's generate. See if that increments. Hit save. Go back to the list. And it did not, in fact, increment. Okay, so I've obviously got a problem in my code out there somewhere. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, this is just the beginning. I've got some. I'm this close to going to paid public beta, and I have to do a paid beta, basically where the users would my beta users would become actual customers, just because Azure hosting ain't free, and those AI tokens ain't free. And I've got some improvements that I want to make, and even just now this morning, I'm discovering some bugs in the system, especially around a new user experience. But eventually, you're going to be able to sign in as a brand new user, doing the thing. And I really hope this experience speeds up a little bit, because that's annoying. That's really annoying. But we shall see there. But eventually you're going to be able to sign up as a new user, do the dice rolling stuff until your heart's content. I'm going to let people save up to like 5 of the just randomly generated without AI stuff, as a known user. And down here, for known users who haven't signed up for the paid plan, there's going to be a upgrade my or upgrade upgrade my familiar or whatever, that will go through that whole process that I ran semi-manually earlier in the stream. And I've got this, at least the create subscription automation is running as expected. So that makes me pretty happy. That makes me very happy. And I've got to test like the cancel and all of that other stuff. But I want to get the create experience going, and I want to iron out those bugs. And I'll probably be doing that later this week. But for now, we've had ourselves a very successful stream. I'm feeling really, really good about how things are looking. The next thing I need to do is deploy the function app to Azure, and I have to stand up that resource. I also have to stand up another app service to hold the API. And yeah, I think we've had a pretty darn good stream. And that whole shebang executed in about 609 milliseconds. F yeah. F yeah. That's awesome. That makes me very, very, very happy. Sweet. Exit this terminal. Here's ngrok. Kill that. Exit that terminal. Come back over to ngrok. Make sure my endpoints are cleaned up. I have none. Thing of beauty. All right, man. All right. Good deal. And debugging all of this stuff should be relatively simple because of the way I've got all that structured. So nice. We're getting closer and closer and closer. So deploy the function app to Azure. deploy the admin API app to app services. Test, test, test. I actually have Visual Studio Community Edition installed on an old laptop that I found in our son's dresser when he moved out. The video card is ancient. Like this laptop's from 2014 or 2016. The video card is ancient. It's an old generation i7. The keyboard's hosed. So it's only useful if I remote into it, but it's got 24 gigabytes of RAM, so it can actually sort of host a local language model. And I was using it for a lot of the Blazor development. And as a matter of fact, when I work on the actual application itself, I do remote into that machine. But for the backend API stuff and so on, I stick to my native Macintosh. I'm running on a Mac, dude. That's why VS Code. And I know JetBrains just released Rider with a. Oh yeah, I'm not surprised because MSDN subscriptions are ridiculously expensive. And honestly, dude, VS Code, it, I can add some extensions to it, and it is almost full featured as Visual Studio in terms of having the tools I need. Visual Studio Enterprise Architect Edition has some additional features that I find incredibly handy when I do more heavy-duty architecture, like being able to dig in and get heat maps of cyclomatic complexity, things like that, code maps, etc., for just sort of getting a good high-level view of an entire solution. But for day-to-day, just grinding out code, VS Code is more than sufficient. More than sufficient. And in some cases, oh God, Eclipse. No wonder you're burning out because you're writing Java. I've heard Java in Eclipse is not a good time. I've still not learned Java. I haven't bothered with it because if I can't do it with C#, it probably doesn't need to be done. Although I do need to learn React, which means learning really what I kind of see Java and .NET as being roughly equivalent in capabilities. I think from everything I've seen, .NET's actually a little bit nicer to work with than Java does. Like there's more stuff built into the frameworks and so on and so forth. Yeah. Microsoft's done a really, really, really good job at making sure the experience and being able to manage dependencies and so on and so forth is top shelf experience. Yeah, my understanding is that Java is incredibly powerful. It's just as capable as .NET. .NET is just as capable as Java, but the developer experience in the .NET ecosphere or ecosystem is just more pleasant in general from everything I've heard. But yeah, so this has been an incredibly productive hour and couple of minutes. I've gotten a lot of things knocked out, a lot of things clarified. I've got some successful tests under my belt. And actually, to the things that I need I need a upgrade account button in application. Okay. I think I've got a solid to-do list for the rest of the week. Now, I'm not going to be streaming Thursday and Friday afternoon. Microsoft is actually offering a free course on more effectively using GitHub Copilot in your developer's workflow, and I signed up for it. And I'm going to be doing that Thursday and Friday afternoon because I can learn from anything, even if it's really basic for beginners audience. I'm certain that I'll pick up something that I haven't just found on my own explorations. Tomorrow morning, I have a conversation with a development manager for a company that uh, we're kind of flirting with each other. This afternoon, I'm not going to stream because I've got a conversation with uh, personnel recruiter and the company president for another agency that we've been talking with and developing a relationship. And yeah, it's just a very busy week for me all of a sudden. So I will see you all tomorrow morning. I gotta go get myself looking less like somebody that hassles the three Billy Goats gruff um, before that 2 o'clock. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. And until next time, happy coding. Take care of yourselves. And dude, get yourself some downtime and cool off a bit. Unburn out, man. I will catch y'all tomorrow morning. Take care now.